What's up, dudes and dudettes? We're down to the last bits of this FC, and I'm starting to get excited because things are really coming together. Check it out. It's really starting to look mean. It's coming together pretty quick. And a lot of you guys are getting prepared, making rooms in your garages, because remember, we're giving this thing away. Just make sure that you have a really tall garage door, because it is all of almost 8 foot tall. Typical garage door is 7 foot tall. So I hope you have a garage big enough to put this thing. Ooh, it's so pretty. I've done a few things since you saw it last. Of course, I made a video on putting the tires and wheels on there. We went with the Milestars. But I didn't film a few things. I got shocks up front. I put I put Rancho shocks up front there because I had stolen those for another project I was working on. I can't remember if it was the Rancho or something else. I went ahead and installed the rear sway bar. You can't really see it well in there, but I didn't want this thing to be rocking all over the place. And you'll see here in a minute, we've got another sway bar to install up front here. We'll get to that in a second. What else did I do? I've been really nitpicky on the fine details. There's little tiny things that are making this a sweet rig. And one of those is just making sure that I've got all of the little vintage pieces. It's basically a sleeper. To me, I want this to be a sleeper. You don't really want to see that it's been modified until you look close, right? So one of the things that I noticed was this fairlead that came with the winch was too new, too shiny. So I went ahead and found this one that's been used and abused. I think it goes a lot better with that theme of this whole project, and the bumper as well. And then there's little things you probably wouldn't even notice if I didn't show you. So this is the knob that came with the new wiper switch that I installed. But I went ahead and took the old wiper switch off the factory FC and installed that on. It just is more vintage and has that retro vibe. I like it a lot better, but I'll leave this one with the Jeep in case you guys like that better. Oh, check this out. You saw on a previous video where I engaged the lockers with 5 psi, 260 millimeters of mercury, and so I mounted that up. I got it all mounted. Locker engaged. You want to disconnect your locker? Just let the air out right there. Gauges are all ready to go. I need to put the steering wheel on. Everything is looking good. I even got some hose clamps. I spared no expense even on the hose clamps. You can see those are the good ones, not those cheapy ones, so I wanted everything to stay tight. I got the belt on. You probably saw these, but those are the vintage cup holders. I also took my time routing this brake line that goes from the pedal to this piece back here, the slave cylinder. And so that looks nice and pretty all the way along the side there. Oh, I also got the emergency brake working. So you pull this, and that sets your emergency brake. It's a little trigger on the back you release and it takes it off. This right here is the dome light switch. I don't have the battery connected, but that's the dome light switch. This is the headlights. This is the overdrive off switch, so you want to shut off the overdrive in case you're pulling a big hill or you're towing something. And then those are for the blinkers and flashers, and then that is for the high beam indicator on your headlights. Even the little thing here for the shifter is vintage. It's got a little bit of rust and patina to it, just like the rest of the Jeep. This, I couldn't find anything to make operational for this, but that was the choke on the factory motor. And then I've also been buttoning up a lot of the wiring, getting the cables routed and mounted securely so that they won't move. Lots of things to consider when building a new vehicle like this, is just mounting all the cables and the wires and everything. You don't even think about that stuff. I've gone through a lot of zip ties, believe me. A lot of zip ties on this build. In fact, if you want a comprehensive list, this is all the stuff I've accomplished in the last few weeks. Go ahead and pause that and check it out. But then I wrote a new list on the back here, and this is the stuff that I have yet to do. So this is everything that I need to complete, and then it'll be out of the driveway and ready to be given away. So today, though, we're going to work on these two boxes. Let's take a look at what's inside here. In box number 1, what do we have here? Alright, so in box 1 we have an anti-rock sway bar from Rock Jock. I asked them to give me a heavier duty bar, that way it won't want to sway so bad. I'm a little bit concerned about how much that thing might sway on coil springs, front and rear, where it had leaf springs originally. So this thing should keep the sway down tremendously. Coming out of box 2, we have a heavy-duty rough country steering kit. Now I know rough country gets a bad rap sometimes, but this thing is surprisingly very heavy-duty. Check that out. I mean, that thing is stout. I can barely lift that with one arm. It's heavy duty, that's for sure. So this is for a Jeep TJ, XJ, MJ, ZJ. You think it'll fit on an FC? I guess we'll find out, but I wanted to go with tie rod ends. A lot of the steering kits have Heims on the knuckles, but since this is going to be more of a daily driver, kind of mild build, I wanted to go with comfort over crazy stiffness like the Heims. They just end up squeaking. They're great for heavy duty rock crawler-y stuff, but for daily driver or whatever, these are going to be much better to have the tie rod ends. So let's get all this stuff put on. Oh, I also have a steering stabilizer to add to that, so we'll see how that fits in. Alright, here's a look at her underneath bits. Is it a her? I always call them a her, but with these little dangly balls, it kind of seems like maybe a him. Anyway, check out, oh, that looks so nice with those RCVs in there. One of the reasons that I went with anti-rock, well, I like anti-rock for one, and I like their products, but the sway bar goes through that bar on the chassis, on the TJ, or the LJ in this case, and the factory mounting point is right here and right there. But as you can see, in this case, I have a steering box in the way, so I can't use the factory sway bar or any type of sway bar like that. So anti-rock is perfect, and then it's going to go right through this hole here and on the other side there and work with and around all the crap that I've got going on here for steering. Let's see if this bar will even clear, because you can see through the tube right there, and it's just right in line with basically the bottom of this cab, and I hope I don't have to pull that sucker off or lift it up again, because that would suck. Oh yeah, it fits. Here's a little trick to installing these. I don't know if Rock Jock would agree or not, but that thing is very tight going into that tube, so if you just chamfer that edge just a little bit, it acts like a little ramp, I guess, to get it in there and get it started. You see that? It'll be fine. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. You can see how tight that is by all the plastic that squeezes out, but it's in there now. Don't hit the hand. Don't hit the thumb. Oh, my thumb's already messed up from the last time I hit it. I'll just keep at this. I've installed a couple of these in the past and people don't really understand what it does. The best way I can explain it is it's a sway bar. What does a sway bar do? It keeps your body from rolling. It keeps you from swaying. So like on the highway, if you were to make an evasive maneuver real fast, you don't want your body rolling, you don't want to flip over. Well, this keeps you from doing that, but it's thin enough, it's flexible enough that when you're off-road, when you're off-highway and you need to flex, it still allows you to flex. If you look at a typical factory sway bar, they're real stiff, they're real beefy. They keep you from flexing on the highway during an evasive maneuver, but they also keep you from flexing, period, off-road. But when you're off-road, you want to have that flexibility, and the anti-rock is right on that medium line where it's stiff, but it's not super stiff. So when you're off-road, it's just right where it'll still allow you to flex all the way and flex out. So anyway, I hope that helps you understand what it is and what it does. All right, I had to trim the bar a little bit because my lift game is weak, but otherwise we're good to go. There's 3 holes right here. Depending on which one you use, you're gonna have a stiffer bar because there's more leverage the further in you get. Once we get that bolted up, then we're good to go.
She come out of break of night, the pink skies where things are bright.
You know, I keep thinking that I've installed these wheels for the last time, and then something else keeps coming up. I keep having to take them off. First it was the shocks, then the e-brakes, and the steering. I should just keep them off. I don't know why I don't. I want to make it pretty for you guys so you can see how it's gonna look. Alright, it's raining a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't get too loud, but what we need to do now is to drill this out and then ream it with a 7-degree reamer. We're going to put that up through the bottom here so that then it will accept these giant tie rod ends. So what I like about these is that they're offset. Can you see that offset? What that does is it gives you more clearance in front of your diff cover. That a lot of times what will happen is if they're not offset, it'll bind on the diff cover and you won't be able to steer fully to the left or to the right. Let's get this sucker drilled out. Let me introduce you to Big Bertha. Big Bertha has taken off my arm about 3 times before. I've had to go have it surgically re-implanted. This sucker is an arm ripper, but when you're using big drill bits, you need a big drill. So if you're going to do this yourself, you need a 5/8 drill bit and then the 7-degree reamer, which Rough Country sells that actually. I bought that from them. You can also buy them on Amazon or off of Amazon from Rough Country. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this. Hopefully she doesn't rip me again. Oh, God. Woo! Ow.
She come out of break of night, leaving no traces around. She's trying to free a reckless heart. She's trying to be as light as a breeze.
So it needs to come through here far enough to get the castle nut on and then the cotter pin through that hole with the castle nut on it. So I'm going to drill until that happens.
The Queen of Art, Friday morning. The Queen of Art.
It's not quite there yet, but let's see how it's looking. Oh yeah. I think we're good there. Oh yeah. Perfecto.
She come out of break of night, as sweet as always. You come out of break of night, you'll be wearing her charm so frail. Yeah, she's trying to avoid everyone.
You would not believe this. Check out what happened while I was installing those. Look what happened to the bed of the FC. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, I wonder if anything could have happened in here. Oh, look at that. It's hard to see because it's so black. It's hard to see. Oh, yeah. That's looking nice. Looking nice. You know, I just noticed today that the seat brackets are different position for the driver and the passenger seat. I noticed that from up here while I was taking the tape off. You see the driver's side brackets and the passenger side brackets. Interesting. It's almost time for a windshield.
Even the battle for peace. Queen of Ireland, Friday morning. Queen of Ireland, Friday morning.
Alright, check it out, punks. Not only is the steering done, but I've been working on all the details too. Look at this. Check out that grab handle. I polished that up a little bit. I found this pill thingamabobber, and I figured that would be awesome to hang right there. Check those out. Those are the vents for the defrost. Got 2 of those. I've also been putting fluids in this thing and getting the brakes bled. While I was doing that, I realized I'm missing missing one of the pads. I don't know what the heck happened to it. It's just gone. So I've got to get one of those. I also started putting all the stuff back together after I did the paint. I put the gear shifter in there, although it does nothing. Maybe it'll be fun just to pretend like you're shifting gears. I got the gas pedal back in. I got the dash mounted up, and it is looking so pretty. Oh, and the steering wheel is finally attached for good. I got the armrests installed. Oh yeah, it matches my arm. A little dirty. Oh, and I also had this material left over from when the seats got upholstered. What I'm going to do is use that for the visors. So I traced it out. I will fold this like so, and then go get on the sewing machine, sew that up. Then you turn it inside out, slide it over, and we will have cool custom upholstered visors as well. I know it doesn't look like much yet, but when you get those seats in there, that thing's gonna pop. It's gonna be so pretty. Check out how cool that rear view mirror looks right there. How neat is that? So that's all I've got for you this time, guys. In the next video, we're gonna start this thing up and I'm gonna take it outside for a test drive. It's kind of scary. We've got 1 week until I have to be at the Jeep Invasion. So if you like this video, check out these videos over here because they're just as awesome, and we'll see you guys next time.